Sometimes what we call fiction is closer than we think. Beneath the water's surface, in forest shadows and deep within the past, lie creatures science still can't explain. We present to you 12 beings, each one defying our understanding of the world. The first mythical creature we'll talk about is the werewolf, a human who transforms into a wolf. These stories have fascinated people for centuries. According to legend, a werewolf takes form during a full moon. The body becomes taller, stronger, covered in fur, and the eyes start to glow in the dark. They don't lose their mind completely, but act on animal instincts, hunting, hiding, growling. Some myths say the curse spreads through a bite, like a disease. One of the earliest stories comes from ancient Greece, about King Lycaon, who was turned into a wolf by Zeus himself. In the Middle Ages, fear of werewolves turned into mass hysteria, especially in France and Germany, where people were tried and executed for wolf crimes. Here's an interesting fact. In some cases, the person has no memory of being a werewolf. They wake up in torn clothes, with dirt under their nails and dreams full of terror, and no idea where they were that night. Do they really exist? Science says no, but there's a rare psychological condition, clinical lycanthropy, where a person truly believes they've become a beast. The next creature emerged from internet discussions, the giant mutant whale. Unlike ancient myths, this concept is rooted in unverified sailor reports, unexplained underwater sounds recorded by hydrophones, and deep-sea monitoring data. The idea gained popularity in the early 2000s on cryptozoology forums after the appearance of the Julia sound, recorded by NOAA in 1997. This hypothetical whale would be significantly larger than any known species, up to 130 to 165 feet in length, with distorted anatomy, irregular behavior, and low-frequency signals uncharacteristic of known whales. Potential causes include radioactive contamination, deep-sea chemical pollution, or evolutionary divergence in isolated high-pressure environments. The Julia sound lasted around 15 seconds and was captured by multiple hydrophones across a range of nearly 3,000 miles. Its acoustic profile was too strong and too deep to match known biological sources, including blue whales. The signal's origin point was traced to an area near the Antarctic Plateau, one of the least trafficked parts of the ocean. Since 1997, similar unexplained sounds like upsweep and slow down have also been detected in nearby regions. Some researchers have proposed that these might originate from unknown, large marine organisms adapted to extreme pressure and darkness. Does the giant mutant whale exist? For now, it's only a theory. But with over 80% of the ocean still unexplored, many recorded ocean sounds remain without scientific explanation. You've definitely heard of this creature, the Cyclops, a one-eyed giant. Feared for his brute strength and piercing gaze, he's one of the most iconic figures in Greek mythology. But what if his origin wasn't entirely fictional? Cyclops are described as humanoid giants with a single eye in the middle of their forehead. In Greek legends, they first appear in Homer's Odyssey, where Odysseus encounters Polyphemus, a savage cave dweller who eats humans. Some stories say Cyclopes were children of Gaia and Uranus, skilled blacksmiths who forged Zeus's thunderbolts. But science offers a different theory. Archaeologists believe the myth may have stemmed from fossilized skulls of dwarf elephants, discovered on Mediterranean islands. These skulls have a large central cavity, the nasal passage for a trunk. To ancient people, unfamiliar with elephants, it could have looked like a massive eye socket. Cyclops legends are especially tied to islands like Crete, Sicily, and Malta, the very places where such fossils have been found. Do Cyclopes really exist? Technically, no. But if ancient people mistook the skulls of dwarf elephants for the remains of one-eyed giants, then maybe they did see something real, just not what they thought it was. The next creature is Vasuki Indicus, a rare fusion of ancient myth and modern science. On one hand, Vasuki is a legendary serpent from Indian mythology. So massive he was used as a rope in the great battle between gods and demons. On the other, a real prehistoric sea monster, discovered only recently. In 2023, scientists in Gujarat, India, found fossil remains of a marine reptile about 39 feet long. It resembled a giant snake with strong jaws and a long, streamlined body. The creature was nicknamed Vasuki Indicus, honoring both the myth and the discovery site. This animal lived around 100 million years ago, when the Kutch region was covered by warm tropical seas. The fossils suggest it may have been a mosasaur or even an entirely new predator, never documented before. Interestingly, locals had long told stories of massive snakes living in nearby caves. Some areas were avoided out of fear. Now it seems those legends might have roots in distant prehistoric reality. Today, Vasuki Indicus stands as a reminder that science and legend sometimes meet. The discovery shows. Even the wildest myths may carry a grain of truth, buried deep beneath time and stone. This creature has inspired fear for centuries. The Banshee. A ghostly figure from Irish folklore, she doesn't bring harm, but is said to give warning. According to legend, her cry is heard only by those who may soon experience a loss. The Banshee is described in many ways, sometimes a young woman with silver hair, other times an old figure in a gray cloak. She usually appears at night, near a home where something unfortunate might occur. Her voice is high, distant, and cold, like the wind carrying a message of dread. The first mentions of the Banshee date back to the 13th century. People believed that each ancient Irish family had its own Banshee, warning of possible misfortune. In older stories, she was called the Woman of the Mounds, thought to come from ancient burial sites. The Banshee are most common in rural parts of Ireland and Scotland. Even today, some villagers speak of strange cries heard in the night. The Banshee is more than just folklore. She's become a symbol of anxiety, fear, and the feeling that something bad might happen. Her image appears in horror films, books, and games, not as a literal being, but as a metaphor. Does the Banshee really exist? Science doesn't support it. But if you've ever heard an eerie sound in the night that made your heart skip a beat, you may understand why this legend still survives. This is one of the most mysterious sea creatures in North America, Cadborosaurus. For decades, it's appeared in stories from fishermen, sailors, and even military personnel. It was first reported off the coast of British Columbia, and sightings have continued ever since. According to witnesses, Cadborosaurus is a long, serpent-like creature with an eel-like body, protruding fins, and a head resembling a horse. Estimates of its size range from 16 to 50 feet. Some claim it moves in a wave-like motion, similar to a sea serpent. What makes it truly fascinating is the time span and locations of these sightings, from the early 1900s to the present day. Some claim they've even found remains of the creature, though no photograph has ever been scientifically verified. A few blurry videos from fishing boats show something snake-like writhing at the surface. The most common area for sightings is around the inlets and straits near Vancouver Island. Expeditions still go there, hoping to capture new evidence. In 1937, the stomach of a dead whale allegedly contained the remains of a creature resembling Cadborosaurus. This Naden specimen was briefly studied by zoologists, but then mysteriously disappeared. Does Cadborosaurus exist? No expert has confirmed it yet, but no one has fully disproven it either, and the waters of the Pacific still hide many secrets. Many people have asked us to talk about this creature, Mothman. It became a legend in the United States after a wave of mysterious sightings in the late 1960s. Witnesses described a massive, winged shadow with glowing red eyes and a humanoid form. Mothman is said to stand about 6 to 7 feet tall, with wings spanning up to 10 feet. Its shape resembles a mix between a man and a giant moth. It has no feathers or fur, only smooth, dark skin, or a chitin-like surface. The glowing red eyes are often the most terrifying feature. The first major wave of sightings occurred in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in 1966. Witnesses claimed Mothman chased cars, launched vertically, and hovered over bridges. A year later, the Silver Bridge collapsed, and many linked the tragedy to the creature. Point Pleasant is now considered Mothman's home, and the town even has a statue of him. A festival is held every year in his honor. Fun fact, some believe Mothman isn't a creature but a harbinger of disaster. People allegedly saw him before explosions and crashes. Does Mothman exist? There's no scientific proof, but the legend has taken root in American culture. Maybe it's mass hysteria, or maybe it's something we just don't understand yet. One of the scariest creatures in this video is the Mosasaurus, a giant marine predator that could grow up to 56 feet long. Its body resembled a terrifying mix of snake, crocodile, and lizard. It had a massive head, conical teeth, and a long tail that helped it move quickly through water. Sightings of sea monsters similar to the Mosasaurus have been reported worldwide, from New Zealand to the North Atlantic. Witnesses describe long, finned bodies, aggressive behavior, and strange sounds echoing from the depths. Often, these creatures are far too large to be ordinary whales or sharks. Some theorists link these sightings to living fossils. If a megalodon could hide in the deep sea, they argue, why not a mosasaur? While scientists consider this highly unlikely, it's not something we can completely rule out. Over 80% of the ocean floor remains unexplored, leaving plenty of room for surprises. Did mosasaurs exist? Yes. They were real prehistoric marine reptiles that vanished millions of years ago. But if a descendant is still hiding in the deep, it might explain more than we think. This creature is a living legend of New Zealand. Its name is Taniwha. It comes from Maori culture, a people who've lived beside the ocean for centuries. Taniwha are described as massive aquatic monsters, serpent-like, crocodilian, or finned and ridged. Some protect people, others pull boats and trespassers deep beneath the waves. According to legend, Taniwha shaped bays, carved river paths, and protected villages. One famous tale says a Taniwha dug out Wellington Harbor to save a tribe from drought. Even today, people near sea caves and deep ocean trenches report giant underwater shadows, strange noises, and mysterious boat disappearances. Do Taniwha exist? No. Scientifically, there's no evidence of such sea creatures in any biological or archaeological record. But they're not just a myth. Taniwha represent fear, power, and the untamed ocean in Maori tradition. And perhaps something real once inspired these ancient beliefs. The next creature on our list is the Barghest, a dark spectral dog from the legends of northern England, most commonly associated with Yorkshire and Northumberland. It is described as a massive black hound with glowing red eyes and smoky, flowing fur. Its shoulder height can reach nearly 5 feet, and its body length over 6.5 feet. It appears silently and vanishes in an instant. Some of the most famous sightings come from Yorkshire, near graveyards, bridges, or in fog-covered forests. Witnesses describe heavy footsteps, deep growls, and a sudden chilling cold. Some tales even depict it dragging ghostly chains or being surrounded by a dark mist. In rare versions, the Barghest has wings or a forked tail, adding a supernatural flair to each story. In modern culture, the Barghest has inspired characters in video games, novels, and horror stories. Some interpret it as a symbol of fear, grief, or isolation. Does the Barghest exist? No. It's a purely folkloric figure with no scientifically credible evidence behind it. But the fact that it has terrified people for centuries proves how powerful legends can be. You asked for it again and again. And now, from the deepest corners of legend, the Leviathan. This is a giant sea monster, said to reach lengths of over 300 feet. Its body is covered in thick scales no weapon can pierce. It breathes steam or fire, coils around ships, and drags them to the depths. The Leviathan is first mentioned in the Old Testament, symbolizing chaos and unstoppable power. Other sources describe it as a dragon, a sea serpent, or even a satanic force. In some myths, the Leviathan is not just a creature, it's the embodiment of the abyss itself. It is believed to dwell in the deepest parts of the ocean, far beyond human reach. Many cultures have Leviathan-like beings, Jörmungandr in Norse mythology, Tiamat in Sumerian legends. During the Middle Ages, the Leviathan often appeared in religious texts as a demon who devoured sinners. His image was used to frighten people into repentance. Sometimes he was portrayed with 7 heads, a symbolic reference to evil's many faces. In recent decades, Leviathan has become a symbol in horror films and video games. Even modern deep-sea monster theories often compare unknown ocean giants to this legendary beast. Did the Leviathan exist? Most likely not. But its legend lives on, terrifying, inspiring, and endlessly fascinating. The final creature on our list is the Narwhal, a remarkable marine mammal surrounded by myth and legend. Often called the unicorn of the sea, this nickname comes from its long, spiraled tusk, which can grow up to 10 feet and resembles a magical horn. Narwhals live in the cold Arctic waters near Canada and Greenland. They grow up to 16 feet long and weigh about 3,000 pounds. Males develop the iconic tusk, which is actually an elongated left canine tooth. Scientists still debate its purpose. It may be used for sensing changes in water, showing dominance, or even echolocation. Fascinatingly, during the Middle Ages, narwhals were considered mythical creatures. Their tusks were sold as genuine unicorn horns for enormous sums, often more valuable than gold. These horns adorned royal crowns and were kept as sacred treasures. Today, narwhals are protected, but climate change and industrial activity threaten their habitat. They remain among the most mysterious inhabitants of the Arctic Ocean. Do narwhals exist? Absolutely. They're real animals. But thanks to centuries of myth and mystery, they still feel like something out of a legend.